This is your announcer, Shannon Saint Mainframe, welcoming you to our IP Livecast. Donald Trump has won the 2024 presidential election. This is finally my chance. I am praying for Elon Musk to get appointed to a cabinet position, so I can use his tech to infiltrate all American homes like in Lawnmower Man. And by praying I mean taking over Trump's Wi-Fi and hypnotizing him to do it. Our IP Livecast starts now.
Hello.
Always plotting that, Shannon.
It's true.
He is a registered independent.
Can you do that?
She can.
I can barely hear you, Robert.
What are you talking about? I'm here.
I see you. I believe you're here. No audio evidence of your presence.
I don't understand how that's possible.
Look at this. Trump already silencing LGBTQ voices.
And he doesn't
Already.
even take over for 2 months. He's somehow doing it.
Unbelievable.
Unreal. Unfair.
But this is one that could have used a slight volume.
It's, yeah, like a broken clock sometimes.
All right.
The silencing is correct.
Not all the way down, but move the slider a little bit. Hello.
Hey, Rob.
How are you?
Good.
How are you, Sid? How are you specifically?
I'm all
I
right.
heard you had a difficult week with your bowels.
Yeah, listen, when there's stressful times, it goes right to my gut. That's all.
That is why I endorse, and I think Rob would say the same.
Kaopectate?
Yes, this is a live read. I'm 3K now.
Oh,
Not
no.
3D.
Oh, no.
Oh, I just
KKK.
yes. I just realized I still have my mycoplasma
Yeah.
name on here. I'll change that in a moment. But what I was going to say is that with regards to U.S. politics, I endorse nihilism because both parties are horrible. And once the terrible person gets elected, as happened this past Tuesday, it can no longer bother you because you knew going in a terrible person would be elected. So
Yeah.
I am not going to say that I am happy, but my status is unchanged by Trump winning.
I'm not surprised, I would say.
Yes.
I was bracing for this,
Mhm.
and I feel like the Democrats got a little cocky.
Khaki.
A
They
little
became
cocky.
Old
They were
Navy
cocky
pants?
and cocky.
Oh.
And just assumed too many things, and
I thought that was the issue the first time Trump won. This time, I think they weren't cocky and they just leaned in all the way, but with the wrong shit. It wasn't like she stopped campaigning or anything because she thought she had it in the bag.
She
That's
thought-
what Hillary
wrong
did.
campaigning.
She said, "Oh man, Hillary Clinton lost to Trump in 2016. The problem was she did not get the endorsement of Dick Cheney."
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
That's what I'm gonna fix.
It was such a vibe shift, man. Like everything was going well in this campaign, and then all of a sudden they were like, instead of saying how Republicans are weird and all this, let's just hang out with Liz and Dick Cheney for a few months. Like, wait, what? Really? That's the pivot when you're actually doing well right now. All right, and
Well, they had a pivot at some point because all she was doing was saying the word joy over and over. Like there was no.
that's
real...
better than hanging out with Dick Cheney.
I agree. I'm just saying they chose the wrong thing, but they had to get off of that eventually,
suppose.
right? You have to talk about what you're going to do at some point. I would think.
I
maybe,
suppose.
maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm
Yeah.
wrong. Maybe she could have just said joy over and over, and
Well, clearly it didn't work.
yes. Could you know what she did? And I'm going to steal a joke from another podcast that I listened to. She said joy, but she started adding, it became joinocide. So she kept saying joy, but with the word genocide attached to it. It doesn't go over as well. You sleeping, Rob? You okay?
I'm not sleeping. I'm quite.
Did my joke bomb just like
Well, it's not your joke.
Palestinian villages?
Oh.
Okay. Good.
Deuterino notes that the amount of happy strangers Wednesday morning that assumed they could celebrate with me was wild.
Really?
Why? In the liberal enclave of the Los Angeles, California area, there were a lot of happy Trumpers.
Now, Rob, you have met El Deuterino in person. Does he give Republican when you stand next to him?
Well, what? Who gives Republican?
Is he giving that vibe that he's a Trump
Orange
supporter? That
County. I think.
Well,
for
he's a
somebody,
Republican, so.
I mean, for somebody to walk up to El Deuterino and say, "I think this is a person who will share my happiness."
Well, I think in Orange County, people are probably assuming you're more likely to be a Trump head.
Yeah,
Well,
that is, I guess, more left.
Because
I
like
asked
in
that
South
question.
Brooklyn.
I asked that question when I thought he lived in SoCal. So I
Yeah.
thought,
Same.
I was like, why would you
Orange
single
County
this
is
guy out?
SoCal.
I mean, like, Los Angeles.
Yeah. Right. Like, that's how I feel. It was very interesting looking at the breakdown in New York City on which neighborhoods voted which way. And a lot of Latino neighborhoods in the Queens voted for Trump.
In
and
the
all
Queens?
Yeah.
in the Queens. And
Like
in
the
the
Iron Sheik.
Brooklyn-
All the people in the Queens vote for the Mr. Trump. But all of the people in the Manhattan vote for the Miss Kamala.
And it is funny, the blue separation, the blue-red line division in Brooklyn, with North and South Brooklyn,
Yeah.
with the immigrant neighborhoods and the Italian neighborhoods going very pro-Trump, and then
Jewish neighborhoods.
yes, the Orthodox Jewish neighborhoods, absolutely. Like, that's like, it was so funny. Williamsburg and all the gentrified areas are blue,
Yeah.
and in Williamsburg there's just one pocket that's beet red. And you know exactly what what that pocket is.
One pocket that's out of pocket.
And I would say, like, it was funny. Before the show, the three of us, we went back and we listened to the episode that we did in 2016 after the first time the Trump won. And I feel my reaction and my feeling right now is like a complete 180 from how I felt after he won. I was confused. I was disoriented. I spoke of PTSD. Now I'm just like, oh yeah, no, this is.
But I think that's understandable. Like he was a
Yeah.
complete and total wild card then, but now we have 4 years where he was just like a regular, shitty US president that, nothing really happened except the world continued to get worse and worse like it does every single year, no matter who the
Absolutely.
president
I
is.
mean, there was a global pandemic.
Yeah, but I don't blame, I shouldn't say I don't
help
blame. I don't blame Trump for that starting, but I do in a way because I feel like he oversaw the US's like labs and stuff that do that. So, but that of course goes back to Obama and Bush and all these other. So it's like not a specific Trump thing, which is what people are trying to say. Like Trump is this singular like Hitlerian force that's going to end the world. Which that doesn't mean he's good, but I think there's just people should be optimistic that life is just going to continue to maintain a suckitude.
See, if
that it already
he
has.
won, but like either the Senate or the House stayed blue, I'd feel that way. But the fact that it's going to end up that he's got the White House, the Senate, the House, and the Supreme Court, that is different than the first time around, I feel like.
But didn't he have that in 2019 to 2020?
Yeah, he had.
Did
Didn't
he?
he have that? Yeah,
He had all
it for the
four?
first 2 years.
I think so.
Yeah.
No, not the first. The first.
Maybe like the House
yeah.
he didn't have.
No.
but
I
he
think
did-
I think you were right. I had it backwards. He had the first two, and then the Democrats turned it in 2018. I think they turned the House.
there was a
over.
big right. There was.
Then I guess maybe those first 2 years, there were still some Republicans that pushed back on him.
Mhm.
And I feel like those people are all gone this time around. There's not going to be
Maybe.
pushback from his own party, I don't think.
I won't make a prediction, but I know, like, Lindsey Graham and all these people fucking despise Trump.
Not
I mean,
anymore.
they will. I think they'll work. I think
Lindsey won.
they're politicians. Like they say,
Lindsey Graham was campaigning for him.
Yeah,
Lindsey
they
Graham-
know now that if you go against Trump, you lose your primary.
I think those people all work against him, but they know that Trump being the president is better for them, so they just endorse him. And but I think they're
Isn't it
happy
just
to.
politics.
Yes,
For
that's what I'm saying. I
Republicans,
think
yeah.
they're happy to kneecap him where they think it matters.
I guess we'll see.
But I also think the other thing about that is like Trump doesn't know what he's doing and doesn't care. Like he doesn't care about policy. Like he will sign like 97% of what they throw on his desk. But he doesn't like. There's no ideological drive. Like he could just as easily.
I feel like he
be
was
like,
trying to throw the election. I feel like the last few weeks he almost didn't want to win. You know, like the way he was campaigning, it felt like, or the things he was saying in his speeches of like, I'm just gonna ride into the sunset and you'll never see me again.
Really? I didn't hear that. I thought
no,
I honestly
I
had the opposite reaction. I thought he wasn't trying for the first 2 months or 6 months or something, and then in the last like 8 weeks he was like kind of losing, and then he's like, I don't want to be a loser, and he started like actually looking like 2016 Trump a little bit.
There's that, and there's also the risk of all those court cases. If he lost, he'd have to go on with those trials, and who knows what happens, and now he doesn't. But I think that's the number one motivator for him, is just that all those convictions go away.
Now, do you think he's going to be so pissed that they put 91 convictions on him that he will now start to use the judicial system against his enemies now, the way that they said he was going to do and didn't? Like,
I mean, there's nothing to stop him.
He didn't do it the first time, though. It was all talk. That's my point. Lock her up and all that
Hillary
shit.
in jail.
But Hillary never did. To that point, Hillary never did anything directly to him. Now there are people that he can go after that did stuff directly to him.
Mm-hmm.
It's more personal. He doesn't care about what those people did to the country. He doesn't care about fucking Benghazi and shit like that. He cares, oh, you made me have to go to court? That's too far. It's only once it touches him that he wants revenge, I think.
Oh.
So that's a new thing this time around. So we'll see.
So you think Hunter Biden's going to jail?
I couldn't give a fuck about who cares if Hunter Biden never did anything to Donald Trump either.
I don't care about Hunter Biden. I would love for Joe Biden to go to jail, but he's not going to do that. No. I don't think he would have the power to do that, even as the president.
For what?
Just, war crimes and shit. Same stuff that Trump does, But obviously Trump wants to do the same things, so that it's not going to happen. I'm just talking about the ideal fantasy world, which will never happen.
Yeah.
At least in my lifetime, maybe, some point. Or maybe I'm not being optimistic enough. Maybe there will be some revolution where Hillary Clinton and George Bush and all these people will be in orange jumpsuits at The Hague, but a boy can dream. Let's be optimistic on this day, this dark day. And Trump in the next cell, by the way.
If you find yourself anxious, all you have is today. All you have is the present. You can't be panicking about things that haven't happened yet, that are ultimately out of your control. Now,
and Rob, if
I say this, hold on. I say this as somebody, obviously, I come from a privileged position. I am a cis white man who lives in New York. Mm-hmm. And, I have
You're a citizen.
So it's very easy. Yes, I'm an American citizen. So I understand. But here's the thing. If you're a trans person in a red state, I sympathize with you. I think you should try your hardest to get to a major city somewhere where life will be a little easier for you. If you're an immigrant or someone who is undocumented, I sympathize with your struggle. But if you don't fall into those very specific categories, I feel like you'll be all right. I guess a woman in a red state could be troubled, but even then there are options. I feel it'll be a little more difficult, certainly, but like you'll be all right. You'll be okay. It's not worth you being anxious and stressing. Like that's going to do far more harm to you than Trump ever could.
I would also add to that, Rob. I'm sorry, Sid, just quickly. If you are feeling down, just like Rob said, live in the present. There are 2 months left to the glorious utopia that Joe Biden created and the Democrats. This beautiful,
they're fighting tirelessly to prevent any fascism that Trump tries to pull in. They're going to be pushing laws through. They're going to be nominating a new Supreme Court justice to replace Sotomayor, who's having health issues.
What is that a thing?
Yeah. No, the new thing is that Sotomayor should step down and let Kamala Harris be on the Supreme Court before Trump gets in.
Would Kamala Harris get approved?
Who the fuck knows? Force approve her. We just make up rules now anyway. Well, they made up. There's no primaries don't count anymore, so why not do that too?
Well, again, primaries never count when there's an incumbent president. That's
But
not a new thing.
she's
Or
not
you
an
mean just when they
There was a
replaced
primary-
Biden?
what are you
I meant
talking
when
about?
they
There was a
replaced
primary-
Biden, but
Oh,
There was a Republican primary
Right.
4 years ago that Trump won. He won it handily,
against
but
who?
there was some guy, I forget his name.
it was an
But
open
there was a guy-
primary, but like nobody
Yeah.
really challenged
Nobody
him. This
really
was
Yeah.
saw,
different.
but they still went through the formality. Democrats didn't even do that, I don't think.
I don't think that's
But
an
also,
unprecedented thing.
I think also it's not that it's unprecedented. I agree. I just think it's shitty, and it was always shitty, and it's still shitty. But then when Joe Biden, went cuckoo
that was the
brains,
fucking- when
they
he
just-
waited till the 20 seconds after the last second, and there was no time to really figure shit out, and it's like, all right, I guess we'll just let this lady do it since
But,
she's already standing
And well,
there.
even like Nancy Pelosi threw him under the bus this week after
Yeah.
the election.
Oh, what she
he
said.
waited. She said what
He
you
waited
just
too
said. He
long.
waited too
That he
long.
waited too long, and he prevented us from having a primary, so that the American people could like seal Kamala's fate. But like she was kind of hinting that she didn't want Kamala, which has been.
But then
a
who
rumor
did she
all
want?
along.
Right.
That we don't-
Herself.
Gavin Newsom?
Whoever the primary would decide, whoever the American people would vote in.
Yeah, I'm sure she's very pro
That's
democracy.
you know how the Democrats are. They let the people have their voice be heard. They would never torpedo a candidate to ensure the one that they want to win does.
Well, so they fucking cooed him anyway. If they were gonna do that anyway, why didn't she do that sooner? If that's so important, why didn't she do that
That's
in
a great
fucking
question.
January? He didn't want to go anywhere till the day before they got rid of him. He was like, "I'm not going anywhere. I'm gonna run for president."
Darren, let me ask you this. Do you think if he never backed out, if he never stepped aside, do you think he would have lost worse, the same,
way
done
worse.
better?
Way worse.
You
Way
think he
It
would
would,
worse.
have,
okay.
it would have been 538-0.
I think yes. I think liberals
Maybe
would
like
have also
California and
abandoned.
New York may have, like the bluest of blue states maybe have maintained, and even in New York, Kamala won by the lowest margin
Yeah.
in forever.
It's like Reagan,
It's so scary
or
how
since maybe the
and-
first Bush.
and also few things of note. Before the election, I remember telling Sid that my ideal scenario, the ideal hilarious scenario, is that Kamala wins the electoral vote, Trump wins the popular vote, getting Republicans to be against the electoral system, and Jill Stein gets 5%, getting third-party funding.
How much did she end up getting?
Like 0.4. or something.
Nothing.
Yeah.
You could add up all the votes that all the third-party candidates got in all the swing states and add them to Kamala's
wouldn't have
vote.
helped.
Like, assume that they were going. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's still she would have lost. That's how poorly she performed. There's no one to blame, but Hillary Clinton. No,
I mean, just part of it,
in a way. I mean,
in
she's
that it's the
one-
Democratic establishment.
Right.
Yeah, Kamala hired all the people that worked on the Hillary campaign 8 years ago. They brought in Liz. It's so funny. So when we listen back to the 2016 episode, which, by the way, if you're listening and want to take a stroll down memory lane, it's episode 385.
I will say though, with the hiring of all the same people, she had such a time crunch that she had to hire somebody who had experience in a presidential campaign. It was either the Biden folks or the Clinton folks or some mix. Like who else? There was no time to go hunting for new people and see what.
Don't
So
hire
I'm
losers.
not fully
That's right.
blaming her
All
for that.
Sure.
Does
Sure.
she have any say in how the campaign goes? Like, hey, person that I hired that worked for
But even
Biden,
the
do you mind if
strategy
we
they
don't
took.
embrace Dick Cheney? Can
Well,
we
yeah,
not
that
do
sure. I'm just saying it specifically
She
that's
ran
who
to
they hired.
She ran a more to the right campaign than she ran when she was in the primary 4 years ago.
Wait,
Here's
hold
a
on,
question
hold
I
on,
have.
time. I'm
No, go
sorry, I
ahead.
got to respond to
Go
that.
ahead, go ahead.
She didn't just run a campaign to the right of 4 years ago. She ran a campaign to the right of Trump.
Yeah,
She's
like
Trump's
is
not
like-
going to do enough border arrests. Trump's not going to attack Iran
Yeah,
enough.
I'm going to be tougher on immigrants than it was. Immigrants got thrown under the bus bigly by
and I'm
Democrats.
sorry I cut you off, Sid. That's just
No.
a point that pisses me off so much.
Well, and I have an honest question for you guys, because ever since this happened, all I see as far as like the post-mortem The people on the far left say what you guys have been saying, basically. The party's basically Republicans, blah, blah, blah. And then the centrist people say that Kamala lost because of the woke far left and because we've abandoned the working class, blah, blah, blah. How can... Like, they can't both be true. Like,
my question to this,
I just don't get.
The centrist is like, what woke policy did she have? She said she did not back trans people. She said she's going to follow whatever the law is.
Right.
She where was her woke policy?
Abortion, which is barely not even woke.
That's what I don't understand. It seems when the people on the center this week have been yelling about it, they're yelling about like people on Twitter and TikTok and shit, what does that have to do with Kamala Harris? I don't get how Kamala Harris lost because of far left people on social media.
Well, that's what they're gonna say for the next 4 years.
When these centrist people elaborate, they would say stuff like, "Oh, it's all of this defund the police," and it's like
nobody said that for like 3 years.
Exactly, they're bringing up stuff from a million years ago.
Yeah.
That the Democrats.
But I will say the Republicans still campaign against that stuff now, as if it's still happening.
Well, I mean, they campaign against the. I'm sure what it is also like the trans girls in sports. Like we're too woke with like that's the Democrats' fault, as if they're taking the position that boys should be allowed in women's sports, which is not what they're saying.
The answer is if you want to chase Republican voters, chase the ones that only go to Republicans because they're fed up with Democrats and because their material concerns are crippling. And then they get taken in by Trump's bullshit and MAGA bullshit and fight that with good ideas, and you will win Republican. Those people are reachable. Like, you have...
They voted for Obama.
Yes, you have a certain segment of Republicans who are Nazis and just want to lynch black people. Fine, leave them alone. But that's a vanishingly small amount. People are not born racist. They pick stuff up. And it's very easy to speak to them when they're poor. So make them not poor, educate them, and build this infrastructure so we have a country full of educated, smart people, and you will find that there will be a lot less right wingers. But when you're a right winger like Kamala Harris, you don't want that to happen.
Now let me ask you, Sid, what do you think they did wrong?
Everything, all of it, bad messaging. The good stuff that they do, they're not good enough at articulating it. They're just bad at branding. Everything that the Republicans do well, the Democrats do bad, because the Republicans gear everything towards what do we have to do to win an election.
Mm-hmm. But I think that's what Democrats are doing too. Then they just do it badly.
Well,
don't you think? Well, let me ask you this. So, and I'm sorry, I didn't mean this to be the Sid interview.
No, it's fine.
Because I feel like Rob and I mostly agree, and you differ from us. It would be the closest that you could get to it. I mean, I disagree with Rob on a few things, but I think we're closer than either of us are to you politically. So, like, do you think this is a horse race problem? Like the election, they're good politicians, but they ran a bad campaign, horrible campaign, and got blown out? Or is it like they're fundamentally bad and they're being legitimately rejected at the polls? Because I think it's B.
Somewhere in between.
Okay. What is the policy?
Any of these people are good politicians.
Right.
I mean, if she was a good politician, she would have maybe won a single primary in 2020 instead of being the first one to lose and give up and still somehow be the choice now. That's they fucking lost this election in 2020 when they picked Biden and led, even if he never said out loud, I'm only going to do it for 4 years and then I'll step aside.
I want to just cut it really quick. In a way, it's Obama's fault because he's the one who brought Biden into the.
But it worked for him. He
won
2 elections with Biden as
ruined the country. But anyway,
I think he won in spite of Biden.
Either way, he won.
Yeah.
But the fact that they all got together and picked someone in 2020 that they assumed wouldn't have it in him to do it again already was a mistake.
Yes.
And then for him to never fully commit to that, and for them to spend 4 years hiding, like, so then you pick Kamala Harris as the VP, fine. But then if there's even a possibility that he's not going to run again in 4 years, shouldn't you spend these 4 years building her up as much as fucking possible?
Exactly.
But instead, they
benched
fucking hit her away for 3.5
Yeah.
years, and then a debate happened. It was just the most disorganized, ass backwards, stupid, self-owned bullshit situation. Like, the fact that the polls were even close is amazing to me with how stupid they went at every fucking turn.
That's because Trump is a terrible candidate.
Yeah.
Trump shoots himself in the foot, and they shoot themselves twice.
Yeah. But
Oh, by the way, Rob, I found an image of the electoral map if Joe Biden had run. If you want to share that on the screen, do you have that? It's in the chat.
Oh, I see. Yes.
Have you got that?
There it is.
There you go. New York and California still.
They're a little pinkish.
Yeah, like it's still on. Right. The final tallies aren't in. It's too close to call.
They might eke out a victory there.
Here's my thing where I think the centrist complainers have it wrong with blaming the far left. I think the issue is that clearly most of America, whether it's true or not, whether it's a legitimate issue to be worried about, when your main thing is Trump is going to destroy our democracy, we need to save democracy, that's too lofty of a thing for most people who are just trying to get by day to day. They don't give a fuck. They're trying to save their own fucking house and family, right?
Great point.
So when you make that your top issue,
let me just add a little sizzle to that. I read that a Republican pollster told NPR that when they ran a poll of regular Americans asking, "Do you think Trump is an authoritarian?" the first response that they got was, "What is an authoritarian?"
Of course, yeah, exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
So just making that the main issue, it almost seems like they were campaigning on, please vote for us because he might put us in jail if you don't. We're really scared. But what does that have to do with me? What does that have to do with me or the voters? Like, that is a very inside DC issue. Right. Just like when the press talks about freedom of the press. It's essential for a democracy, sure. But that's also you guys worrying about your own jobs. What does that have to do with me?
Yeah.
Right now.
Preach on it, Sid.
Do you remember like about a year ago when every news story was like Doc Talk, Trump stole stuffed documents in his pants, and like it went on for like 6 weeks that Trump stole documents, and like
they're in his bathroom.
Who the fuck cares? Who the fuck cares? Like,
well, if he stole documents to sell to foreign powers, that's the thing. But if he just had it, but either way, if that's ends up being the case, then talk about it. In the meantime, it's not much.
And even then, I don't think people really give a shit. Like, it doesn't move the needle.
It's treason, though, if it's true, if that's what he did.
I don't think anyone gives a shit about that other than like NBC News anchors and stuff like I don't. It's just that people, eggs cost $12. I don't think anyone gives a shit about Trump met with Sergei Lavrov and like told him.
Also, fucking, like Democrats being like, "Oh, the economy is great." It's like, look, the stock market is up, yes, but people are struggling, and they're like, it's not reflected in these numbers,
right?
And you can't tell people who can't afford their groceries like things are great. Stop complaining.
Biden is the most progressive president since FDR.
Let's
I heard that
about look at that
10 times this month.
That electoral map, though.
Oh, you son of a bitch! No, and the Hulkster. The Hulkster finally.
Listen, at least Biden is having fun on his way out, licking some ice cream and some Ron Jeremy cack.
And what is that other thing?
Parm.
That's chicken parm. Yeah.
It's chicken parm.
Hulk Hogan smells chicken parm will show up anywhere. Didn't learn his lesson from feeling like a fat pig.
What cabinet position does the Hulkster get?
this
Hulkster, he's doing the Department of Health, him and RFK. Let's talk about this. Great segue, Sid.
I heard he was doing he's the secretary of Mrs. Bubba Love Sponge's interior. Is that true?
Oh, no.
Sorry.
The sugar walls.
This was before the election, but Hogan has been making the rounds. He's campaigning for Trump, and he made it to Jesse Waters' show.
Oh, good. Very incisive journalist.
And he said he wants to get all of our kids in shape. So let's watch this clip. Now, keep in mind, this is, again, before the election.
What's he wearing?
He's garbage. Remember when all
garbage. Got it.
It seems like these memes feel so ancient now.
Yeah. And it's wild that they all worked.
Like,
Macy's not dressed in a squirrel costume.
Yeah, it's like he's like Scumbag Steve or something from like 2014 or something like that.
Joe the plumber, was that the guy?
Oh yeah, Joe the plumber.
Yeah. If Trump wins, are you going to play any role? I know RFK Jr. is talking about making America healthy again. Is Hulk going to make America tough again, strong again? Are you going to have any role?
On steroids again?
Well, brother, in the wrestling business, when you're getting ready to draw some big money, you got to shoot an angle, put some hot spice on the feud. And I had Trump in the back of the garden. So, you know something? This Robert Kennedy Jr., he's on to something with nutrition. But if you tag team us up as the mega powers, the MAGA powers, there you go.
Yeah.
The MAGA powers, RF Kennedy Jr. and Hulk Hogan, he could get him eat the right food, and I could get all of our kids in shape, brother.
That's what we need.
So Randy Savage is spinning in his grave so hard that it's throwing off the Earth's rotation. Right
on the one hand, maybe on the other hand, I'm sure Randy Savage would have also voted for Trump.
Oh, so 50-50. I'm 50-50.
He actually was making the rounds on Jesse Waters. I want to show
Randy Savage was?
Oh
no. This is about Kamala.
Rob,
I don't
did
know.
you work up that Photoshop of Kamala Harris, or was that Dudorino?
I think even if even if Randy Savage was a Republican, he might like just vote against Trump just to spite Hulk Hogan.
He did do a diss track about it.
That's a great point. So something about being a man or something. I don't even want to bother with the setup here.
It looks like he's smelling a fart.
Yeah.
I like
Rob
the freeze
did make
frame.
that. That's like rockers react to Kamala's man problem. Kamala's the babe of the day.
Oh no!
Well, this is a very WWE graphic with the trusses and everything. Like
yeah.
There's no problem. So let's talk to a man with no problems. Hulk Hogan.
What?
How you doing, Hulk?
Yeah.
I'm great, brother. How are you today?
I'm doing great now that you're in town. Tell me about being a man. The Democrats.
No.
What's it like? What's it like?
So this is, to put it into context, this is right before the MSG rally. This predates the clip where Hulk Hogan wants to be in the MAGA powers with RFK. So we're going in reverse order. My apologies there, but this is important. Hogan's going to teach Jesse the Dandy Waters, how to be a man.
By the way, Jesse Waters is more orange than Hulk Hogan in this clip. Can you see this?
Right,
Yeah.
I see
It's like
it.
Hogan's
I see
like
it,
kind of
absolutely. He's like red.
he's like lavender.
Jesse Waters looks like Alpha Michael Cera.
You're so right, Darren. Hulk Hogan looks like his skin is just one giant bruise.
And Jesse Waters, I think, also looks like a pickle brined David Schwimmer.
Yes, I see it.
Can't really figure it out. I don't know what's going on. What's the truth?
Well, the way it goes, brothers, in the Bible, it says, listen to where people are speaking from. And you'll know exactly who they are.
Fact
so
check
when they say
that right
Kid
now.
Rock and Hulk Hogan and stuff like that doesn't make Trump one with the people or a blue-collar worker. If you listen to where people are speaking from and you put Buttigieg up there, Trump definitely wouldn't be a man of the people. That's how it really is, brother.
What?
But by the way, just to correct you, Jesse.
I don't understand. Like, can someone translate what Hogan just
Pete
said?
Buttigieg is gay, brother. You're not getting my point, dude.
He's not a real man, dude, because he has sex with other men, brother.
But I think
He
that's
has
what he's
sex with
saying.
his brother.
I think that is what he's saying. I'm joking around, but I think that's what he
That's
means.
what I was wondering.
Yeah.
Yeah, like let's go back a second. I'm trying to parse.
This is why they never gave the belt to Adrian Adonis, Rob. You don't understand.
Mhm.
You don't put those guys at the top of your promotion.
Yeah. Or the be Brian Blair.
Speaking from, and you'll know exactly who they are. So when they say that Kid Rock and Hulk Hogan and stuff like that doesn't make Trump one with the people or a blue collar worker, if you listen to where people are speaking from and you put Buttigieg up there, Trump definitely wouldn't be a man of the people. That's how it really is, brother.
See his eyes
But by
and
the way,
everything. He's got
Okay,
those
so
homophobic eyes right there. If you look in Deuteronomy 17, dude, it says, "Thou shalt not work yourself into a shoot, brother."
What you gonna do when Pete Buttigieg sodomizes you?
Oh, no.
No, I think what he's saying, okay, so to parse what he's saying people are saying that Hulk Hogan and Kid Rock aren't of the blue collar people,
Right.
that they don't represent the common man.
Right.
But then you look at them and like ask them who represents the common man. They think it's Pete Buttigieg would be is a representation of the common person.
Right.
So it's maybe there's coded homophobia there, I guess. But it's
Yeah.
like even if you look at like Pete Buttigieg is a veteran, right? Like aren't we
Yeah.
supposed to show respect to
Well,
our veterans? Like
Technically,
within-
on paper, he's a veteran. He sat in an air-conditioned office in Afghanistan for like 18 months.
Look, I'm just saying within their context, within the
Yeah.
Republican, proud to be an American context, he's an American hero. He's more of an American hero than Hulk Hogan. So anyway, let's get back to it.
just to correct you, Jesse Waters.
Yeah.
I know about Waters and your world and all that stuff. Well, this is Trumpomania, and this is his country, brother.
All right, I'll give it to him just for this show, but not after that. I'm going to be taking it back. We saw you ripping your shirt off at the RNC. They've been saying that men that lift weights are fashion.
I just want to say that will go down as one of the most embarrassing moments. Like when they do documentaries of how the American Empire.
The
has
RNC
fallen.
one or the New York rally one where he couldn't rip the shirt?
No, the RNC one, because that was the first shot, like the first of like, wow, this is unreal.
And it all worked. It all worked.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be those shots are gonna be in like the documentaries in 20 years. Mark my words. And then that's the moment where it's gonna like slow down and go black and white and zoom in and it wasn't long until things went bad.
Can you just kind of
remind
Democrats, because they didn't used to be like this. Can you remind Democrats what American men are made of?
Yeah, please.
Well, brother, at the end of the day, this is
At the end of the day, American men go to their best friend and have sex with his wife, like it says in the Bible, right?
Yeah.
Thou shalt have sex with your neighbor's wife. Right?
Ezekiel 6:5 says, brother, bang a radio DJ host's wife and then complain about how fat you are, dude. I looked it up. I did verify that one is in there.
chain of command, our Lord and Savior, the wife and the husband and the kids. At the end of the day, the mother is to nourish, but the man is to protect, serve, and provide. So at the end of the day, that's what this is all about, is being a real man, being a real American, and getting this country and making it not how it used to be, but how it should be, brother.
When you knew Donald Trump back in the day, you guys were running around the country at events, and he was all in your business out there in the ring. And tell me a little bit about Donald Trump when you first met him.
Well, when I first met him, we rented Trump Plaza for WrestleMania 4 and 5. He was at the event from the beginning to the end, and I learned a lot from him, brother, how he handled special kids, how he would talk to the Make-A-Wish kids, and not just give a moment of his time with them. He would spend plenty of time with them, touch them, talk to them, make them feel very comfortable. He's a good man all the way around, brother. He's a good person and a real American.
Your patriotism's up there with pretty much I don't know. I can't even compare it. What made you fall in love with this
me
country?
either.
What made you fall?
He can't think of a
Well, I
patriot.
grew up in South Tampa, and from very humble beginnings. My mom was a housewife. My dad worked construction, but I really never knew where we were at on the food chain as far as our economic ladder. And so once
Can you
I
pause it for a second?
got out from
I grew up in South Tampa, but despite that, I fell in love with America.
I got out of there as soon as I could. Rob, could you read Dusty Rhodes' comment? Because this brings up an issue that we've been seeing more and more of late, of the two of you sharing the exact same social media clips.
Oh, yes. Dusty Rhodes Buffler said that he shared something in the Discord of a Hulk Hogan related clip about how he enjoys using olive oil as lube.
And Rob, like moments before Dusty shared it in the Discord, Rob shared it with Darren and I in our G
before
chat.
the show started. In our pre-show,
I'm still unconvinced that Rob and Dusty aren't the same person.
It's true. They're not ever in this Discord at the same time.
I mean, it could be Rob typing these comments.
Right.
I don't know.
Look, I'm not looking at the screen now. I'm clearly typing.
That's how good of a typist you are.
under, going to high school and college, I got into professional wrestling and made my way. And at the end of the day, this
I was in
the landmark
Metallica, dude.
for me. Because instead of once a month having a small little minute steak to eat, I told myself I never wanted to live like that. I wanted to make my way and make my life. And this country gave me that opportunity. So the American dream is what this country's all about. And Donald
Dusty
Trump
Rhodes.
represents that, brother.
Now, Kamala Harris is out there eating steaks, slinging beers with Stephen Colbert. I don't know if her drinking beer is going to really change votes. Do you?
Oh, that really helped.
No. But by the way, drink my beer, real American beer.
Yeah.
Well, at the end of the day, when I hear the
She
words
drank the
out
wrong
of-
beer, dude. Miller beer is for Pete Buttigieg, brother.
over and over, and she won't even answer a question from Brett Baer. She won't even say how many people have come across the border, during her administration. Everything is.
It is so jarring for me to hear Hulk Hogan talk about like legitimate policy. What the fuck is going on in this country?
I mean, Trump's the president. Why can't Hulk Hogan be a
where
political
is
commentator?
Ja Rule?
But here's my thing. Like, that's your attack that, like, they're not doing enough to. I mean, they took Trump's border policy and, like, made it worse somehow. How is that your line of attack against Kamala Harris?
Because people believe it.
I know. It's just amazing. It's just amazing that, like, I feel like Trump won the first time by sort of pretending not to be that and, like, kind of giving coded messages that he was, like, to the left of Hillary Clinton he couldn't obviously say that because then Republicans would never vote for him. But I feel like he was to her left in terms of, like, policy and different stuff. But now it's just like Kamala's a communist, and a Marxist and loves Mexican rapists. It's just so not the truth. She's worse than you on those topics. I don't know.
Let's finish the clip here. Let's see where he ends up.
Is like that with them. They won't answer the questions. They won't step up to the plate, and they won't even let the American people know what their plan is. So at the end of the day, if you want more of the same, you go down that route. But if you want America the way it should be, you vote for Donald Trump.
All right. And a real American beer. You got to go get it. You got to drink it. That's what Hulk is here about. We love it. Real American beer. You look at it on his T-shirt. Hulkamania, we love you. We love it.
The whole reason he's willing to do all this shit. So here is now
In Towers one day with my wife at Vince's birthday party. And
an important revelation from Hulk Hogan that
What is the PBD podcast?
and this cop comes up and taps me on the shoulder. And I said, yes, sir. Now I'm sitting with my wife, right? And
My wife.
the guy goes, oh, Sheriff sent her limo for you. It's downstairs. She wants you to come over and have dinner with him. What?
Real commoner.
Cher? What are you talking about? No, the Cher, the singer. I didn't, I said, get out of here. What are you talking
look
about?
at the
But,
signatures
it's kind of
on
weird
this
because
fucking show. Alex Jones, Trump, Hogan.
What else you got? I'm impressed you knew that was Trump. I can't fucking read it.
Well, it's just he is a very notable, unreadable signature.
I see.
Yeah, with the little tower, like the little juts.
Yeah.
What is the one by Hogan's hand? It looks almost like Larry Fine, but I can't imagine it's actually Larry Fine.
She thought she'd just
Hey,
send a car.
cut it out, will ya?
Running over there.
Elders?
And then another time.
Oh.
Did you go or you didn't go?
No, brother, come on. No, but I was with my wife. I wouldn't do that anyway.
Oh, wait. She didn't want to have dinner with you and your wife. She just
No,
wanted to have
me,
dinner.
set the
I
car for
got you.
me.
This is kind of like when Madonna went to Antonio Banderas when he's married. He's like, hey, can I spend some time with you tonight? Something like that. I got you.
There's another one. When Madonna put that book out, the S&M book,
Yeah.
I can't remember what
Yeah.
they called it. She had a party in New York City, and I was at the Garden that night. She sent a car to pick me up to come to her party. And once again, I was with my wife, and I'm not doing that stuff. But yeah, so, those things catch you off guard. And that's when you kind of realize that the characters like cross these.
How's your wife reacting to this at the time? What is she saying? Babe, what is this? Like
At the time, she was kind of used to it,
Oh, she was used to it.
Yeah,
'Cause
I've been married.
typically-
This is my third marriage.
I
now.
understand
I'm talking
but
about
the
my
first
marriage.
wife. I'm talking
Yeah.
first marriage. First marriage is kind of like nobody's used to it, right? She's not even used to it.
But she was kind of around. Like I started wrestling in '77,
Married a
so
19-year-old guy.
she came into the picture about '81 or '82. So she was used to seeing
Got
the
it,
craziness.
got it. So
it
it's
was
not
just
like-
another wacko situation that we were getting hit with every day.
Got it.
It
Do you
was
believe that?
veal parmesan every week, brother.
Oh, no.
What were you
Do
gonna
you
say?
believe that Madonna and Cher wanted to fuck Hulk Hogan?
Not for a second.
He doesn't seem like Madonna's type.
I believe that he at some point wound up at a Madonna party and a Cher party, and he has expanded that over the years into Cher sent him a limo to
Yeah.
come sleep with him.
Yeah.
So there's probably like a nugget of truth that this started from, and he probably listened to a Metallica cassette, and then that grew into I jammed with Metallica, and they wanted me to be in the band, and I said
Yeah.
no.
And as for Dusty Rhodes Butler mentioning the olive oil, just to wrap this up, Hulk's former best friend till the end, Brutus the Barber Beefcake, recently discussed what their big falling out was. You might remember Brutus Beefcake was the subject of a Dark Side of the Ring, which was essentially all about how he really owes a lot of his career to Hulk Hogan, like a lot.
No shit, that needed a documentary.
But now they're not talking, and it's like, well, what could have possibly happened? And here is Brutus Beefcake's side of the story. Here,
Oh my God, his face.
He hit on my wife in
Jiminy
his
Glick.
kitchen
Jiminy Glick.
He
with
does,
his
he really
wife
does.
there. I mean, I don't think we're swapping, doing some weird He's standing in the kitchen at his beach house, and he's telling me and my wife how he likes to lube up his dick with olive oil. You know. And my wife is from Boston, and she don't mince words, and she basically told him where to get off at, and told him, she says, I'm only here for one reason. That's Brutus Beefcake. She says, I came because I wanted to meet Terry Bollea, my husband's friend, lifelong friend. That's who I wanted to meet. She
Well,
says,
you met
I
him.
don't know
Yeah.
or care who Hulk Hogan is at all. And I guess his ego was so bruised, he couldn't even face her again. So basically, he said, Brutus, you're welcome. You can come over, but don't bring your wife. I was like, yeah, that doesn't really work for me, pal. So, have a nice.
We gonna respect your friend's wishes.
Yeah, geez, he's trying to invite you over for a nice dinner.
See, I think I figured out what the problem is here. Hulk Hogan puts olive oil on his dick, but Terry Bollea does not put olive oil on his dick.
He does canola. He's more working class than that. He's that fancy olive
Right.
oil.
They both put some form of oil on their penis.
Of course, you have to.
Like a normal American, not like Pete Buttigieg.
He uses real American cock oil. It's his next product.
Use promo code Hulk Hogan, dude. In fact, it'd be funny if Brutus told that story and then started hawking Hulk Hogan's olive oil dick lube just because he's just such a psycho fan and has no money. He has to take the live read.
I'd buy a bottle.
Oh.
Just use it for cooking, though.
Well, that's Hulk Hogan. Just to wrap up the political convo. Darren, you said you met a future mayoral candidate.
Yeah, I did. I was in Dunkin Donuts. And I was waiting I don't really eat at Dunkin Donuts, but I fill up my ice bottle in there. So I go in there and I'm waiting, and this guy comes up to me, African-American gentleman, clearly from New York, a New York accent. And he says, hey, do you vote? And I said, well, yeah, but I'm not going to not voting for one of the two major candidates in the election. I thought he was going to try to get me to vote for one candidate or the other. And it turned out he was trying to get me to vote for him because he was running for mayor. And I was like, I'm waiting for them to do my bottle anyway. So I'm like, just tell me about what your platform is. And he started going off on Harris and Trump.
Let me just ask you a question right away. Was he, when you walked in, did it seem like he was there promoting something, or he was just another guy at the Dunkin Donuts and then he started talking to you?
He looked like he was dressed very shabbily. And I thought he might ask me for, I don't want to be racist because I would have said this if it was a white guy either. Like he just looked like he might ask me for money.
Okay.
And when he first approached me.
And he didn't have like staff with him or anything. It was just one dude by himself.
Oh, no. Yeah. No, he didn't have anybody with him. And, and he had like some kind of a notebook with him or something. So I don't know. That's the only thing I could say that maybe he was a political person, but yeah. So then he started talking about we can't have Kamala Harris. So that's the first thing he said before he said he was running for mayor. He said we can't elect Kamala Harris, and I thought he was going to just be a MAGA guy, but it was different. It was like she's a woman, and a woman cannot stand up to political leaders like Putin or anybody else because they lack the emotional. They lack the emotional strength. Right. It was, he didn't say period, but that's you basically nailing the essence of what he was saying. And then I started trolling him, and I was like, well, what about if it was a gay man? Would that be okay if we had a gay male president? And they're like, no, obviously not. Like he started, like that was a dumb question. It was like, yeah, no, it's the same, essentially the same thing. You know what I mean? I mean, they're not women, but I mean, they're women, right?
Jeez.
And I at this point, I'm completely trolling him. And I said that old Rob line, which is like, I don't know, man. I mean, I'm straight, but I think, if to take a dick in the ass, you got to be a pretty tough guy. Like I couldn't do it. I definitely couldn't do that. And
at that point, the dude ran out the door at top speed.
No, he got very angry though. Nice. And I was like, but I kind of skipped over because he had given me his mayoral, like his card and everything, and this is where I should vote. Look at his website or whatever. And I lost the fucking card. I'm so sorry. We could have looked at it. Look, I tried to look through all the 150 mayoral candidates. He apparently didn't deem it worthwhile to register because I remembered like the first few letters of his name. None of them really rang a bell. So unless he had to register with his government name, which I would have no way of knowing anyway. But I'm sorry, I blew it. I lost the card. But the guy was, after I said that line, the line about being able to take dick in the ass, and that's a very manly thing to do in the ancient Greeks.
Yeah,
used
my
to
line
do
is
it.
my line is it takes a real man to take a dick up the ass.
Yeah, I got that across, and he was like,
yeah,
"No, that's." He said that's some F word shit. Like he used the F bomb. And then he stopped engaging with me.
He didn't
run out.
Though that you clearly put that image in his head though, and
I made him gay.
Yeah, you absolutely.
I fucked his mental ass, and he had to deal with it. He had to eat it.
Mental Ass is the episode title.
Okay. That won't get censored, right?
Yeah, one word.
Mentalass. Like
Mental.
mental floss, but slightly different.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wish I had that card. We could have explored his whole,
You got to keep going back to
platform.
that Dunkin' Donuts. Maybe you run into him again.
I am over there a lot. It was on 9th Avenue and 23rd Street, around there.
Okay.
25th Street. I don't know,
Wait, in
something-
Manhattan or in Brooklyn?
Manhattan.
Oh, okay.
There's a-
Interesting.
I was working over there. Yeah, so I don't know. I hope I get to see him again and see how he did in the election. If it hasn't happened yet, but that's
Yeah,
next-
we got another year almost.
yeah. I hope he does well. I'd rather have him than Eric Adams, but he's gone anyway.
Yeah, I have to think. We have a new mayor in a year.
It's gonna be a wide open field. I think there'll be a lot of
Yeah.
like very libby people running against Trump, essentially. Like, I think I have a feeling they're going to run more against Trump than Eric Adams, which is a mistake.
I mean, Eric Adams is so Trumpy, it's not that far off. You could run
Yeah.
against Eric Adams with a lot of the same stuff you'd say, just directed at him. He's got indictments too.
Yeah, the good thing about New York, though, is that at least in the local politics, not so much mayor, though. Unfortunately, we elect a lot of Republicans as mayors or shitty Democrats as mayors. But if you go down a few pegs, like in
City council.
you can actually be very far left and be in the New York City city council, and even the state senate has some people in there. Although a lot of New York State is like northern Alabama, but like yeah, you can actually do change at the ground level in New York. That's why we have a lot of good institutional stuff, like care for homeless people and stuff, and it's thwarted by the federal government not funding it, but it's they do good work here in New York City. But for some reason, for mayor, we elect Mike Bloomberg and Rudy Giuliani and Eric Adams. So it's very strange. I guess like Upper East Side libs love authoritarianism. Like if you tickle their authoritarianism bone, they get very excited.
Though it's been a while, at least. And I mean, by the end, Bloomberg, hadn't he either become he wasn't a Republican anymore in name by the end.
All right, he's still a billionaire, though. I think, honestly, this is sad to say, the best mayor of the last 40 years, I think, was de Blasio, and he was horrible.
Yeah.
And the second best was Bloomberg.
Yeah.
Bloomberg did
He
it.
was terrible too.
And he did some good things at the not at the basically at the non-political level, like not culture war level, like just taxes on certain things of corporate things and stuff like that. So, and the soda ban, which I actually liked, it was widely misunderstood as like an invasion of privacy and stuff. I don't think it was that. It's actually a good idea.
Has a really good social services. Like they really take care of their elderly and their underprivileged.
Although I've read that they've gotten worse under Eric Adams, but
not surprising.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I don't have numbers.
Well, good news. We're gonna have Ben Carson overseeing the federal level of that thing, and I'm sure.
And whoever's there now is probably not great anyway. So.
Dusty Rhodes Muffler has a question. Rob, Darren, you guys might be more equipped to answer.
Go for it.
What is the cheapest place to rent in New York? Granted that it's expensive everywhere.
New York 5 boroughs? Is that what we're asking? I guess.
I assume so.
Bronx or Staten Island.
I would
Staten
say,
Island?
I think Brownsville. That's my guess. I've heard of apartments for like 2-bedroom apartments for like $1,100, $1,200 over there. But it's a terrible area. It's like one of the few areas that still like ranks highly as zip code in terms of like murder rate in the United States and stuff. It's the only part of New York that hasn't been gentrified yet.
Yeah.
And also it's just hard to get to and leave, it'll take you a while to get to any notable
well, there's one, the 3 and the 4 go right there. The 3 train and 4 train go through like New Lots Avenue, but that's on either side of it. It's like a transportation desert.
Yeah.
Which is by design. That's from all like
course.
redlining and stuff, and like how they intentionally segregated New York in the 30s and 40s. So that's a very, very low rent area. But I have a feeling within the next 10 years they're going to gentrify the shit out of Brownsville too.
I'm sure.
Yeah, there's no, and also just parts of South Brooklyn. I feel you could still probably find relatively reasonably priced apartment. You know, like Brighton Beach, you said the area.
Oh, Brighton Beach is no. I feel like it's like $3,000 a month for like
Wow.
a reasonably not cramped space.
Yeah, interesting. Let's get over to Garrettson Beach then.
How much are you paying, Rob?
You don't want to know.
You don't want to tell us.
I actually have a good deal. My landlord did just raise the rent, but it's still under market value for them.
Can he just do it anytime he feels like it, or is there some process?
Yeah, we're on a handshake agreement.
Oh,
I mean,
so he
I
could,
leave.
if he was a dick, he could make it $10,000 a month tomorrow, and you could just leave, right? There's no,
Yeah.
he doesn't.
But
have-
your landlord is like your
He has to
friend,
give me
right?
notice. Yeah.
I'm not saying he would do it.
I
I'm
believe
just
he has
saying
to
like,
give me at least 30 days notice
Okay.
legally for the rent jacking. To your
Right.
point. But yes, he can do that. But
there's no
yeah,
political apparatus that prevents him from raising the rent.
right.
Okay.
Yeah, like there's no rent stabilization or anything on my. There are some housing. There is some housing in New York with like some form of rent control with like the maximum amount you could raise the rent or whatever, but it's not widespread. But still, I feel very fortunate for the neighborhood I live in.
Dusty Rhodes says rent jacking is Rob's favorite DVD.
Yeah. It's like when the tenant has his ass sticking out of the washing machine and the landlord comes.
Yeah.
It's like, oh no, I can't afford to make rent. Is there anything I can do so you don't?
That
throw me
definitely
out on
is
the
a genre.
street?
I'm gonna rent jack you now.
Yeah. It's wild that
And
both
then
of
that's
those
just
things.
someone's kink. Instead of paying rent, they work off their rent.
Is that the kink of the landlord or the renter?
Oh, I like that. The landlord
Probably-
finds these underprivileged people who can't make rent and then takes advantage of them.
Yeah.
Well, let's not limit ourselves. Let's have two separate lines of videos.
Yeah. Cover all the bases.
Yeah, and then they like meet like Alien versus Predator in like a big third or fourth sequence.
But all the sets, the walls need to have like water damage, and you see like a roach crawling across. It's got to be like slum conditions.
I remember I was dating a girl in the mid '90s, and this was on like after I finally broke up with my first girlfriend, and I've had a rebound. And I started dating this girl, and I went to her house once, and she had a kid, so like I wasn't expecting to go get laid or anything. I just went to visit her house and hang out with her, and she had this dude there, and I was like, "Who's this dude?" He was like taller than me. I'm about 6 feet, and bald. And he looked like a homunculus or something. Like he was just, cleaning the toilet or something. He was doing some housework. And I was like, is that your boyfriend? No, that's what it was her. It was her houseboy. But he didn't get any puss. He actually did that as a fetish.
Well, I don't think Jenny's foot pussy got any puss either. I think he just showed up, did some
really?
chores, and she farted in his face.
Oh, I thought he got some sexual gratification.
Rob? I mean, maybe later on in his car he jerked himself off. I don't think Jenny
Yeah,
did
there were
anything
definitely
for him.
guys that she didn't even have to take like
Nice.
clothes off or any, like just to be in her presence was.
Yeah, I didn't-
for her.
I don't want to hear any of these women in politics talking about how oppressed women are when you could fucking fart in a dude's face for
Yeah.
cash.
Yeah, I can't do that shit. Yeah, fuck out of here.
You can fart in a dude's face for cash. Totally.
You
Yeah.
offering, Rob? How
Maybe.
much?
I'm not offering, but I'm saying there's a market out there.
Is there a list I can advertise on? I'm happy to fart in someone's
yeah,
face
just
for cash.
pop onto Fartster and sign up.
I did that the other day on the train by accident. I didn't get any money for it. I really did. I actually felt bad about it. I ripped
You
one.
fart in someone's face?
You just do it for the love of the farts. You don't do it for cash.
I really was trying not to fart, and I was not malicious. And then I looked around to see if the person recoiled in horror, but they did not. But it was a really ripe one, though. It's like very bad.
You smelled it instantly?
Like 5-second drift time, I guess. But yeah.
Did you see it? You didn't see anyone else noticing?
No, I used to love that when I was younger, and I'd be on well, I remember one time on the train, I ripped maybe a top 10 worst fart I've ever cut on the train, and I watched, and I was on how the train is about 100 feet to 150 feet long, right? Each train car, and I just watched as different waves of people starting. Oh, what the fuck is that? And it went all the way to the other side of the train. It was amazing to watch.
This actually reminds me, there was a clip from a Spurs game, a San Antonio Spurs game this week, when they're doing, they do the intros of the starting lineup before the game. So as all the players are getting up and they go by one, each of them is like doing like this, like somebody ripped just the stinkiest fart. Like they're all reacting except one guy in the starting lineup who looks completely normal. And so everybody deduced he must have just ripped a really bad fart that everyone else
maybe coordinated that to go viral.
Yeah. And then I think that was the game where that same guy later on broke his thumb and now he's out for multiple weeks. So karma.
Don't fuck with farts, man.
Don't fart on your teammates.
They're powerful. But yeah, even then, even as a young, sort of angry child, I would have never farted in someone's face on purpose. Unless if they were a willing fetishist, then yes. But
as a child, you're hanging out with fart fetishists?
And when I say child, I meant 20. I meant a child compared to me.
Baby.
Metaphorically a child, like dumb.
Yes.
Okay.
Young, dumb, and full of cum.
And farts. And Taco Bell. White Castle, more likely. I didn't really discover my love of Taco Bell till like my 30s, I feel like.
Oh, wow.
We were very deprived in South Brooklyn with Taco Bell. There was only I did the one on Kings Highway. It opened late. I don't know.
Oh, that opened when I was
Coney
like
Island
20
Avenue?
years ago, maybe 15 years ago.
No, it's longer than that.
No, not that.
25, I'd say.
But we did have a Taco.
In the 90s it opened.
Okay, that's earlier than I thought. But we had a Taco Bell in 1994 to 6. I know that because it was near Brooklyn College when I was going there.
In the Junction.
But that was the only one close to anything.
Yeah, no.
And I just I would eat there once in a while, but like, this is okay. This is all right. But White Castle
in high school, so it had to have been like 96, 97. And I remember like when I first got it, it was like the only thing I wanted to eat because this is so great. It's so good.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I just blew it off. I think I had a Taco Bell renaissance later. I still love Taco Bell. I make no bones about that. It's good shit. I know it's kind of corny because we got great Mexican restaurants, but it's just a different cuisine.
Yeah, for sure.
I love great Mexican as well.
Yeah.
I like, I crave certain types of fast food all the time. Sometimes I'm craving a Wendy's specifically or a Burger King Whopper or, I have to say the biggest revolution in fast food is these like $5 or $6 meal packs that they do where it's just, a prefix meal, essentially. You get a burger, a small fries, a small soda, and usually chicken nuggets for $5 or $6.
A combo meal? That's not like a new thing, is it?
But it's cheaper than anything else on the menu. Like, for example, just a quarter pounder meal is like $12 now.
Oh, I see.
So this is $6.
And you get E. coli.
That's anything you get.
What's so crazy, is like I've been getting them and it's wild because it's so filling that you're almost like, why isn't this the standard serving size of all the meal? What we don't need more than a small fries and a small.
Well, it depends what you're eating it in combination with. If you're not getting the nuggets and stuff, then you are
getting nugget. You're getting
in this combo meal. But what if I don't? I never get the combo meal because I don't want the soda. I don't want to just. What am I supposed to do with that?
It would still be cheaper than getting those items.
It's just wasteful. I just don't do it.
You can get a coffee. You don't like coffee?
With the fucking taco?
As your little dessert.
What? And do they serve coffee all throughout the day, or is that only a breakfast time?
No. Oh well, Taco Bell also has they have like a gordita or like a chalupa meal, right? Like a $6.
You tell me, expert.
It's a chalupa, a taco supreme,
but also I don't eat beef really anymore, so I'm definitely not getting beef anything from Taco Bell.
We're done.
I'd have to do the cantina chicken or some such.
Muffler asks, you don't like the soda cider?
I like it, but I have to avoid like corn syrup and stuff, so I don't really drink soda that much anymore. Same as it's all related to my gout.
You see, Sid just row too close to the sun for too long.
Yeah, I got my fill. I'm not crying about it. I'm on medicine now, so I can still indulge sometimes. I just keep it infrequent, special occasions.
I was craving like a Big Mac the other day, and I like Sid. I am cutting down you're cutting it out completely. I'm cutting the red meat down to twice a month. So, and I had just gone out to have goat at my favorite Indian restaurant, And
There's a chicken Big Mac now.
yes, that was my story. My
Okay.
story
Oh,
was
sorry.
going.
Sorry.
So I wandered by and it says limited time only chicken Big Mac. And I was like, this is fucking perfect for me. I love the elements of a Big Mac with it. And it's better. It's better than a Big Mac. Now I'm eating them every day. Not really. But I'm like, there's a McDonald's right near where I go to school. And when I have break between classes, I get a chicken Big Mac. And it's so good. It's going to go away because it's a limited time thing. But it's really good. I like it better.
I imagine if it really sells well enough, they might make it a permanent thing.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I haven't tried it yet.
There's
like the extra bread.
I might be keeping it afloat myself.
How is it different than the McChicken? Is it the same fillet?
It's those patties, but in a Big Mac.
Yeah, it's Big Mac ingredients.
So you could sort of like MacGyver it yourself, even once they take it specifically off the menu. You just need to find, like, you would need to order 2 McChickens and a Big Mac, and then swap the patties.
No, you just need the 2 McChickens and get a Big Mac sauce.
That's like $40.
Do they give you Big Mac sauce on its own?
Not anymore.
No,
well,
and
there you go.
It's not just that. It's like the McChicken has like I think one hunk of lettuce on it, and Big Mac has grated cheese, lettuce, and there's a cheese thing, and there's like a whole bunch of shit is going on there. And you need that central bun that is neither top nor bottom.
That's the part that I feel is wasteful. Like I don't need that other. Why do I need that other bun for?
I think it's the right bread to meat ratio.
I will also say I've only had the chicken Big Mac once, and it was good. But the thing that I noticed most, it seems like they put double the sauce that they would put on a regular Big Mac. Maybe that was just a weird one that I got.
I think they just it was poor what is the production quality? Like they didn't.
Fair. I mean, I'm not complaining. I like the sauce, but it seemed like it was like overflowing.
No, not mine. It just tastes exactly like a Big Mac, but with chicken.
Yeah.
For me, it was the extra bun that I didn't like always, and the lack of tomato that kind of killed the Big Mac for me. Haven't had it in quite a long time.
You know, I still think to this day I've never had a quarter pounder.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know why. I just when I would get burgers there, I'd either get like the basic bitch cheeseburger or the Big Mac.
Quarter pounder is a different kind of patty. It's very juicy. It's very nice. I don't really like the other. Yeah, I don't like they put onions. You can get them no onions on it, but that's what an essential quarter pounder is.
I like to get the quarter pounder supreme. Get the mayo on there.
Oh, I never had that.
Treated like a king.
Remember when they had a double quarter pounder?
I think they still do.
Is that right? Oh boy.
Wouldn't that just be a half pounder?
You can
yes.
I believe you can even get a 3/4 pounder. Even patty.
That's what I used to get at Wendy's. A patty. I used to get at Wendy's. I used to get a triple all the time when I was a fat fuck. Yeah.
Yeah, like for me, I just feel like that's probably too much red meat. You know, like the double or the triple. I'm just
absolutely
the one is fine. Even the Whopper Jr. I think is a really nice little snack. It's a nice treat.
Ooh, Patty's so nice. Come on, Patty.
How's that guy feeling about the Kamala loss? I bet he was a huge Kamala supporter. No pun intended.
He's a large man.
Yes.
Patty.
Now I want one of those pies.
Yeah. Do you think she would have done better if she campaigned with that guy?
I think she should have campaigned with Patti LaBelle. That might have helped.
She probably did. That's why I didn't even say that. There's probably footage of that.
Now that you bring up a good point, because like this election really proved that nobody gives a fuck that Taylor Swift or any of these people are involved in politics at all. It does absolutely nothing.
But they both sides still
in Michigan, and she still lost Michigan.
Who? What'd you say? Oh yeah, right.
And
I forgot about that.
Him too. Sure.
It's just that all that does is like get people who are already in the fold for you to like freak out about how cool it is. It doesn't do anything to attract anybody.
Yeah.
It's the same as Hulk Hogan. It's the same, all these old boomers were already voting for Trump. Like that doesn't move the needle at all.
Yeah. It does more for the celebrity. It just gets them in a news cycle.
Right.
Who do you think is going to be the Democratic nominee in 28? I think it's going to be Gavin Newsom.
Kamala Harris.
Oh my God! I'm sure she'll try again.
Joe Biden.
Bookmark. Yeah. Joe Biden might not leave. What if he just stays and does a coup?
Darren, I asked Rob this, and I guess people have been talking about it on social media. I hadn't seen that when I asked Rob this, but you got to assume if Trump's controlling every branch of government for the next 4 years, they might try to change the rules about running for a third term. And if they do so and Trump runs again, would Barack Obama run again?
Maybe. I don't.
Or do you think he's like, fuck this, I'm done. I don't care. I'm never.
I think Trump is going to be a fuck this, I'm done. I don't think he's going to want to do it a third time. And I don't think, I think it just goes in the same like bin as like, trans concentration camps. Like, I think people are just freaking out. I don't think Trump is going to do any of that shit. I don't think he cares enough. He's just an imbecile. Like
I don't think it's even as much about him as, because like I just wonder, like, when he dies, does the Republican Party just go back to what it was? Because I feel like the base is so in love with specifically him that I don't know who replaces that. I think it's it's specifically tied to Donald Trump. It's not an ideology or anything. It's him.
I think it's I mean, I don't agree with that.
Really?
I think that he has transformed the party already, and the people who were the Republican Party are now supporting Kamala Harris. Like he pushed out all the Dick Cheneys and the fucking David Frum and Bill Kristol and all these horrible people that were all Republicans. They're now Democrats. The Democrats took over that vacuum, and now the Republican Party is just MAGAs, and the MAGAs will be the next candidates.
But none of them are going to be as charismatic as Trump. I just don't think fair. People aren't going to show up to rallies for fucking JD Vance or whoever.
I think JD Vance is a very good speaker and very charismatic. I think it gets lost in the fact that is in no way to say he's a good politician or I approve of anything he says, but I think he captivates the people he's speaking to. I think he's yes. I think the way I think the way he's covered is like that's the guy that fucks the couch. If you watch only that, it's like, well, he's the couch fucker.
But like,
I don't think he's an idiot. I disagree with that. I think he's an asshole, but not an idiot.
In the debate, I was like, oh, well, he could fucking talk. I could see how he could convince people.
I think it was a shrewd choice because I think he appeals to the type of shitty MAGA person that is somewhat afraid of Trump being like too crazy, and he's like the Elizabeth Warren to like Hillary Clinton or whatever. Like he's JD Vance. I think is the guy who like sort of like is the less Trumpian Trump. Is the way I look at it. I want to reiterate this, even though I said it 3 times. I do not like JD Vance, and I think he would be a terrible president. I don't agree that he's like just like a useless weirdo. I think he knows what the fuck he's doing.
But like, so just to get back, like, because I sort of took this off track from like with saying what I said about Trump, my whole thing is just like, even if he doesn't want to run for a third term, if the rest of the party thinks that there's no one next to fill that void that it gets the base fired up as much as him, they might try to do everything they can to force him to run for a third term just because it's their best ticket to winning and keeping power.
What is he going to be, 82 when that happens? I mean,
at least something like that.
He's got a body full of fucking Wendy's grease also. Like, what? I mean, is he going to make it to 82? We might have President JD Vance.
It's possible, sure.
Oh, that would be awful.
I mean, it's the same. I don't know. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Organized. He wouldn't be as frantic.
I think Trump is going to be way less disorganized now than he was the first time.
He's still Trump, man. I don't know. He can't even focus on things from minute to minute.
It's true.
I don't think it matters who the president is. I think the same 8 people run the government, and they might disagree on like minor things of who should be the president for sure, but the person that winds up being the president is always going to be someone that's approved by those 8 people. And until we change that, it really doesn't matter
who are the 8 people.
People who stay hidden. People like massively powerful people that decide things about policy that get to whisper in the president's ear and shit like that. You know, the G8 people, Bilderberg Group type of shit. You know, the people who control the money. You know, what's that organization? Not the federal, not the trade. I'm blanking on it now. Anyway, the International Bank.
Oh,
yeah. I mean, you know what? Like, do we have any say in that? Like, they're never going to allow even Bernie Sanders, who's like a slightly less, shitty liberal, didn't even get to participate. So how is anyone good ever going to get to participate? Don't worry about Trump. Anyone who's freaking out, that's my message to you today. Things are going to continue to suck, but they would have sucked either way. So this is not a monumental.
I mean, if you weren't getting deported now and you will be in 6 months, then it sucks more for you.
I don't think anyone's getting deported that wasn't already getting deported. We're doing a whole lot of deporting the last 4 years. I read the southwestern border arrests were like triple what they were under Trump in the last 4 years. Let's see if I can find that graphic.
Deportations definitely didn't stop.
They got worse, and I think people were trying to say it's like, because of COVID and stuff, but people were fleeing because of COVID. But it's been 4 years since it's fucking COVID, man. I mean, COVID is still in the air, the actual germ, but I mean, since the panic of COVID, I don't know. I don't think anyone should freak out. I think we should be optimistic about the future and that this type of shit can change.
I don't know that there's anything necessarily to be optimistic about. I understand not freaking out.
I'm sorry. I don't mean be optimistic about a Trump administration. I mean, I'm optimistic.
Just like this too shall pass kind of thing.
Yeah.
It won't just pass. People have to do it. And I certainly can't do it myself I will support anyone that actually does things to overturn the system that we have. And I think most people agree with me. And, ultimately that it will happen. I don't know if I'll still be alive yet, but anyway.
Let's talk about our Spotify. Every week we each pick a song, we throw it on our Spotify playlist. You can download it. You could download Spotify and search for RIP Livecast Music Break. My song this week, because it's in the music, by a lovely artiste called Robin, wonderful pop queen. I did a little road trip to Rhode Island this week.
Robin S?
And no, just Robin.
Just Robin.
Y.
Okay.
And I put on her album Honey, which came out quite a few years ago, 2018. And I loved it at the time. I hadn't listened to it in a while and fell in love with it. It's a good road trip album. And I enjoyed my time in Providence, Maine. Lots of good lobster. Lots of good seafood.
Providence, Maine?
Yes.
I thought you went to Portland, Maine.
Portland, Maine. Oh my goodness.
Jesus Christ.
Well, he took a little drive over to Providence, Maine.
You were just there. You don't even remember where you were.
Portland, Providence. They're all the same.
I didn't even know there was a Providence in Maine. Had me doubting myself. No stories from that, or we'll save those for next week?
No, it was pretty quiet. Nothing really nothing notable.
All right.
Long drive, but it was nice. What did you pick, Sid?
There is a new Refused Shape of Punk to Come tribute album. It's called The Shape of Punk to Come Obliterated. And Snapcase is on it, doing a cover of my favorite Refused song, Summer Holidays versus Punk Routine. And it is great. It just sounds like a Snapcase song. It's fucking awesome. And that's what I put on there. Darren?
In the interest of healing the nation, from Trump's electoral victory, I chose a song by the artist USA from the album Kamala Harris, the Next President, which I am quoting exactly. Kamala Harris, the Next President. The song is called Rise Up Kamala. And Rob pointed out to me that this is probably an AI song. And it's an album full of Kamala Harris songs, which I will read you the titles of here. We Stand By You, Kamala, Rise Up, Kamala, and The Oompa Loompa is Going to Lose.
What? Really?
Referring to Trump. That's the closer.
Oh,
the
boy.
album. The Oompa Loompa did not lose.
Well, unless I'm sure some people on the right thought Kamala was an Oompa Loompa. So,
yeah, a sister, a leader.
What is that picture?
That was my giveaway that this is an
Jesus, that is definitely AI. Those body proportions do not look right at all.
Well, Rob played this song for his boyfriend, and he said that it was a bop. So
it's a bop. It's catchy. This one looks a little realer, but a lot of weird.
Yeah. So hopefully Kamala will rise up and find something else to do. Find something to do for the next 4 years, because you will not be the president.
MSNBC?
Yeah.
Lead into Rachel Maddow?
Well, like we said, so they're trying to put some chemicals into Sotomayor's drink so that she'll create a vacancy for Kamala Harris to step into.
By the way, we have 2 RIPs today. One for the actor who played Candyman. What was his name? Tony Todd. That guy just died.
He's good.
Yeah. Well, now he's dead. And 2 for our democracy. That's all.
Oh, I see.
Get it? Get it? Because it's over, they say.
Well, it's been over. Right.
Well, democracy has been over. Our democracy has not been over. That's just a bastardized version of the actual democracy.
All right.
You okay, Rob? Oh, Quincy Jones, Dusty Rhodes Muffler also says Quincy Jones also died.
That's a big one.
Though I don't remember, was that this week or was that last week?
Yeah, it was this week. It was between the 2 shows.
It's been a long week.
Couldn't make it to the election. It was too much for him.
Quincy Jones, before he died, was one of those 8 people that control our government. Now there's a vacancy.
Recommend. There's a New Yorker interview with Quincy Jones from a few years ago. I recommend everyone read it. It's fucking hilarious. It's great. And I do want to mention our Patreon, patreon.com/RIPLivecast. We did a roundtable discussion about The Queen of Villains, a fantastic Netflix show you should be watching. We have a lot of bonus episodes there. $5 a month gets you access to 5 years of bonus episodes. We do 2 a month there for you exclusively on the Patreon, and you support the show. The show's totally free. Love your support. $10 a month, you get a shout out at the end of the show, which is right now. How are we doing it?
You should say, you should be the DNC explaining why each of these people cost Kamala Harris.
Oh, no.
All right. Well, Eric, you voted in the wrong district, so your vote wasn't counted. And Benjamin, you didn't convince enough people not to vote for Jill Stein. Dan R., it's because your father is a Trumper and you actually drove him to vote. Massachusetts, it's because you don't live in a swing state.
Well, Massachusetts isn't even a citizen.
Lando Danks, exactly. Lando Danks, it's because you do live in a swing state and you didn't bother voting for Kamala specifically. LaCroix, it's because you went to a polling station and you started handing out LaCroix and you got arrested because that's illegal now in Georgia. Corey and Scotty H, because you're not of age to vote. Erin, because you're a woman, probably. Mr. Schmertzler,
the woman like
you
Pete
live in
Buttigieg.
New York. How are you going to help Kamala in New York? You didn't even bother phone banking. Douglas, who are you, Levison, because you walked Bob Dylan to the stage. Slinkies, because you're doing fentanyl as opposed to voting.
Oh.
Jander, you're housing immigrants. And Randy Blad, you probably are an undocumented immigrant. But that's our show, folks. We're going to make it. We're going to be all right.
I mean, we will.
One day at a time. You will too, listener.
Hopefully.
You know why? Because you're resilient. You're listening to the show, so you already have a head up. You're already smarter than most other people out there. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. Chill out. Relax. Have a J. It's okay.
I will also say, if anything if anything is going to be bad over the next 4 years, and it will be, it would have been bad also, regardless of the outcome of the election. Nothing is going to get significantly worse because of this election. It will still suck. We live in a shitty country, and that's true. And you can always write to us and vent, and we will listen to you and even respond if you want. But don't panic.
I'm acting super privileged. Please let me know. RIPLivecast@gmail.com. If not, we'll see you next week. Till then, we love you. We kiss you. Bye-bye.